What we gain from therapy is that we have a safe space for our emotions. Why does therapy help? We've heard of therapy. Someone we know also attended therapy sessions, but we're not exactly sure what it is that we need to expect from therapy. That's going to be the topic of today's meeting. We know already how to find the right therapist. See previous video. We already know what is the therapeutic approach that suits better our needs. See previous video. And we also know what it is that we need to avoid, why therapy doesn't work, in which cases therapy doesn't work. See previous video. And today we're going to cover the benefits of therapy. Hi, my name is Vassia. I'm a psychologist and the founder and director of Anti-Loneliness, the mental health practice in the Netherlands, but also offering our support worldwide. You know, I like organizing and structure. So what I did is I organized the benefits of therapy in 7 different categories. So let's start with the first one, the cognitive benefits of therapy. By cognitive, what I mean, I will mention a lot of examples here so that I will make it really clear. I'm not going to use any complicated psychological terminology. For example, I remember one of my clients in the past, let's call her Sarah, and she was constantly battling with negative self-talk. And she could feel it because she was always stressed. She was feeling worthless. She was not pursuing career opportunities because of this negative self-talk. So when she attended therapy, then she managed to identify these patterns. She was able to see her thoughts, her beliefs, to challenge them and to change them. And for her, that was a game changer. She could overcome her self-doubt, very negative image that she had of herself, and she could actually step up and make the dreams that she had about her life true. Also, she was affected because she was also struggling with decision making. And the fact that we work together on improving her problem solving skills also helped, which was connected with the negative thinking. Also, another thing that happened was that she also gained better self-awareness, more self-awareness. She couldn't understand why she kept having fights with friends or colleagues. And when she started seeing herself instead of seeing only other people, then she was more able to communicate effectively and to have, of course, healthier relationships. So definitely her cognitive flexibility was boosted. And these patterns that belonged in the past were not present anymore, and they were not causing the stress, the level of stress that she had before. She was able to adapt better and to change and to reduce her anxiety. Let's go to emotional benefits. What are the benefits of therapy in our emotional life? I remember the first time that I went to therapy many, many years ago, where my therapist back then, she asked me the question, how do you feel? Really, that was the most difficult question that somebody has asked me. I didn't know. I couldn't name it. So that's something that happens to us very often. And the reason is we didn't have somebody to ask about our feelings or to help us regulate our feelings or to become aware of our feelings and to accept them. Most often the case was that we had somebody who didn't have space for our uncomfortable or difficult feelings. And that taught us to push it away without even recognizing and understanding it. So, what we gain from therapy is that we have a safe space for our emotions. We are able to understand, to validate ourselves for having these emotions. We're not feeling misunderstood anymore. We're also learning how to make space for, as I said, what we call the difficult, but are not difficult emotions. They are very healthy emotions, such as anger, sadness, fear. We make space for them. We're not running away from them. And that means that we gain emotional regulation points. We know more techniques. We can handle these emotions calmly, constructively. We're able to communicate them to other people. And then people can be more understanding towards us. You see, it's a domino, it's a positive domino. We also learn how to be more compassionate to ourselves. Instead of being very self critical, which is something that we also learn very early on, we develop self compassion, we develop self kindness for ourselves. And then that leads, of course, to a healthier self image. But something very important in therapy, we are able to process traumatic events, any traumatic, overwhelming emotional experience. What we do in therapy is not just talking, we are processing. We're not going to therapy to gossip or to chat about other people or to just, let time pass by just narrating what happened in our lives. We are processing things. We are able to process unresolved, unfinished business in our lives, something, as we said before, that we pushed away and we never thought about it again and we never made sense of it. So now we're able to put it back in the conscious mind, to process it, to reduce the anxiety and the self-sabotaging that maybe this overwhelming experience is creating now in our lives. And of course, to live our life more freely without carrying that emotional leftover. Third benefit, we're talking about experiential benefits. We are actually learning different ways to experience life. I remember a male client, let's call him Alex. And what he felt was that he couldn't imagine how it would be to have conversations about his true feelings with other people, and especially with the people he really cared about, like, for example, his partner and his children. He didn't feel comfortable, he didn't feel like feeling nice or being open and honest. So that was a very experiential part of his life because he learned the techniques so that he can address these topics with his partner. We did role playing. We put the empty chair and we imagined that there's a partner sitting opposite him. And then he started talking to that before he goes home and speaks to his partner in real life. That was for him a big relief because he learned the tools and practiced them in therapy before he goes outside and practice it with real people, minimizing the risk of rejection or failing or embarrassment. And we also get real-time feedback. You get the feedback from your therapist during the sessions, and it helps you adjust your behaviors and improve the interactions. Then, next category. We're talking about benefits in regards to our personal growth and our self-discovery. What happened is that, let me give you another example. Sam was experiencing burnout at some point in his life. And when he came to me, he didn't only want to talk about the burnout and all the mental and emotional challenges that he was facing before because of the burnout. He also struggled with his identity. He was feeling lost. He had questions such as, who am I? What makes me happy? What gives meaning to my life? And that's the place for therapy to explore. We understand your identity. We are trying to find the direction in your life. What is the direction you want? Nobody will tell you your direction. Unfortunately, there were people in our past that told us what our direction should be. But now it's the moment that we figure it out ourselves. Also, we are learning how to set goals. Again, that goes together with the direction and the meaning. Finding our values, how to set realistic goals that actually match and align with our values. How we can enhance our self-esteem, how we can understand our life patterns and how our life actually tends to show these patterns over and over again and break them. And of course, how to gain more personal empowerment and personal leadership, how we can make decisions we don't regret because we chose them, we owned them, and we know very well why we made them. I talked a little bit about trauma before, but that's another benefit of therapy. We heal from past wounds or any kind of wound. Like, for example, Paul came to me when he was struggling with the loss of his wife. That was very difficult for him to process, and he didn't know how to navigate, and he didn't know how to find peace and how to move forward. And of course, when we're dealing with grief, we don't want to actually cancel grief. We want to learn how to grieve in a way that we don't feel overwhelmed inside this grief. We want to learn how to grieve and allow ourselves to express that emotion that we feel because of the loss. That's a nice company. That's a nice sentiment to know that you have company together with you while you are traveling through this journey, because we cannot avoid it. We have to go through this. As we said before, we heal from trauma, especially when we have PTSD symptoms, when we know that this processing can improve the quality of our life, when we're talking about childhood abuse, any kind of abuse, domestic abuse. This is all types of trauma. Any unresolved issues, maybe conversations we never had, assumptions that we are holding still in our head, and it still blocks our emotional awareness and emotional expression. So that release of emotional pain is a huge benefit that we have through therapy. Of course, not to forget the benefit that we see in our relationships. We improve communication skills, we build healthy boundaries, we enhance their empathy and understanding. And here I have an example. Georgia, and again, it's not the real name, has a client that unfortunately she didn't learn empathy from her environment. She didn't see her parents empathize with her. They were very absent, they were disconnected from each other. And she didn't learn how to tend to other people's feelings or understand other people's feelings. And then in her first relationship, she was confronted with that lack of relational and emotional skills. And that was the request she had when she came to therapy. I want to understand other people's feelings better. I want to learn how to empathize with them. We learn how to resolve conflicts. We learn how to strengthen bonds in relationships. There are many couples that they're coming in sessions, in couple sessions, because they keep repeating the same patterns in their fights, in their conflicts. They're just stuck in this loop, doing the same thing, saying the same things again and again. And does it work? No. Do they stop doing it? No. So we are actually breaking the negative cycles, and we are helping the relationship build more connection, healthy communication, respect, trust, intimacy. And then finally, having gained all these skills, we also build resilience. Not only we deal with the challenge that we're facing now in our lives, but also we develop coping strategies for any other challenge that might come. We are not overwhelmed and paralyzed by stress anymore. We know how to handle it. We cannot avoid stress, but we know now how to handle it. We are equipped in coping with emotional breakdowns. Of course, they're going to happen in our lives, but now we know how to handle these setbacks more effectively. As I said, we know how to solve problems now. We know how to manage stress. We have a growth mindset now. We're not stuck. We are able to see at the solution and the way to cope with the problem instead of being stuck with the problem. As you can see, therapy offers a wide range of benefits, but I want to hear your side. What have you seen in therapy? Has therapy been helpful for you? What did you learn? How it changed your life? Or what was the expectation and what did you have eventually? What did you see eventually from therapy? So thank you very much for joining today. Of course, if you are now looking for therapy and you want to start therapy now, I'm here. I can help. My team is here to help. You can find a psychologist, a mental health professional, a therapist in antilearners.com. Have a look at their credentials. Have a look at the texts and the experience that they're sharing with you. See with whom you're finding that you have a good connection. Contact us, and we're going to do the first step together. Thank you very much for being here today. Have a good day and take good care of yourself.